to Chats with Chelsea. I'm your host, Chelsea Bennett. You've tuned in this week to week 2 of our mental health awareness panel. I'm so grateful for Q, LaShawanda, and Brittany for sharing their stories, their journeys. And if you haven't heard their journeys, go back to week 1. This week, we're diving into how their mental illness, their mental disorders, have affected their romantic relationships. Let's listen in. How has having a mental illness, disorder, how has that affected your relationships with men in your life? What has that been like? Has that been easy? Have they been understanding? Have they known how to react? What's that journey been for you?
I think for me, because mine stems from, interactions with the opposite sex, it was very challenging. My ex, he didn't really understand it, but in hindsight, I didn't understand it, so I didn't really have the knowledge, the wisdom, the language to help him help me.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, it was the right relationship at the wrong time.
Wow.
I wish that we could have met at a different time when I was a little bit further along in my healing. I remember last year a few times having to call him and apologize for some of my behavior. We had a few instances where, someone would say something crazy, and I was so angry with him for not standing up for me. And, he just sees the good in everybody, so he didn't take offense to what the person said about me. And I was just like, I didn't understand. I was so hurt, and I couldn't articulate to him why I was so hurt, but I was just angry. I was hurt, but it manifested as anger, right? And I couldn't get to the bottom of it. It was just kind of like, you're my man, you're supposed to stand up for me kind of thing. And he like scratching his head, like, what just happened here? All of this because I didn't, and that it took probably 2.5 years for me to learn what that was about. And last year after the therapy session, I picked up the phone and I called him. I was like, hey, I realized that when I was sexually abused and I came forward and I reported it, no one stood up for me. No one said anything. There was no conversation. There was no police call. There was no justice for me. And I realized that the 5-year-old little girl in me is still waiting for someone to stand up for me. And that's what I needed you to do in that moment. And I didn't know it. And it wasn't your burden to bear. And I'm sorry. So I've had to have lots of those conversations with that ex in particular. I'm dating someone now, and he's, because I'm further along and have a better awareness and understanding of my mental health and my past, I can properly articulate that to him so that he does have an understanding, and he shows up. As a result, he shows up differently for me as a support. He's very patient. So much so that if for whatever reason we stop dating, I'll always want to be his friend. Like, he is just a good man. And my hope is that I never allow my past to mishandle him.
It doesn't. So tell me, so you're in this healthy relationship now, Q. Congratulations. Right? No, right. You're on the journey.
Yes.
How soon did you tell him?
Well, we were friends prior to dating, so he knew. I'm very vocal about my journey of overcoming depression, my current journey with anxiety. I'm very vocal about it. I write about it on my blog, my Facebook, they're like dissertations. I'm constantly in a state of gratefulness to God for how far He's brought me in this. And so I post about it everywhere. And so he knew from that. But I don't know, he's just, it was very early on. I would say probably our first date we talked about this.
Wow.
But you know what, too? I wanted him to make an informed decision. I didn't want to wait. Even if he had never read that, I didn't want it to be, months into the relationship and then I unload this thing and feelings already involved by then. It's like, no, I want you to know who I am, where I've been, what I've been through, what has made me the woman that I am today, both good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. This is who I am and why I am, you know, and from there you get to decide if you want to be a part of it. And he chose yes, and he chose right.
So one other question for you. Thank you for the laughter. Has he asked a lot of questions, even knowing though? But it's one thing to know and to see that from the outside. Now you all are in this close proximity. Has there been questions? Did he do his own research? What has that looked like?
Yeah. He's done both. He's very inquisitive. He has lots of questions. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God. But there are still moments where I'm working through something where I'm triggered. Maybe by something he doesn't even realize it. He doesn't realize that something he may say or do is a trigger for me. And so I have to stop in that moment and let him know, and then I have to explain, and then he has questions, you know, why and how did this action, you know, trigger something from the past, this particular thing. And it's complicated. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. And we actually had a conversation today where I just thanked him for the grace that he extended to me, the gentleness, his steadfastness. He's a praying man, so that helps. You know, he shows up at church. Nobody even knows we're dating. He comes to church, and you know we sit apart, but he's in there and he's praying, and he wants to understand. He wants to show up. He's, you know, every day he acknowledges. You know, I see you, you know, with the baby. I see you shipping books. I see you, you know, going to the gym and taking care of the house and making meals, and you know, you're everything to everybody. He asks flat out, how can I help you? I just want to make it better. I want to help you carry your load. You know, whether it's something he can do that's tangible or just to be there as a support, you know, emotionally. It means a lot. I told him that today. I said, you know, even if there is not anything that you can do in those moments, the fact that you care and you want to make it better for me, and you ask. Like you literally, you know, some people say, hey, how are you? And they're already gone down the hallway. You know, it's not that kind of ask. It's like, you know, he doesn't even break eye contact. He's there. He's like, I'm here. What can I do? How can I help? You know, and he's constantly asking about my past, and he says he's always careful to say not to use it against you, because I've been there too, where you know people get ammunition to load up their guns to fire back all that stuff at you, and he's like, because I want to love you better. You know, I want to know so that I can love you better. Beautiful. So I had to tell you this cute little story, okay? So we were actually talking about my past one day, and I don't know, somehow we noticed my bracelet, and I have a Pandora bracelet, and the chain was broken. The safety chain. And he was like, well, what's that? And I was telling him all about it, and I said, well, this is a safety chain. And he said, what is it for? I said, well, if it comes apart, it comes undone, it keeps it from falling apart completely. And so then, like, the next, I need to replace it, it's broken. Until the next day or so, he said, hey, I'm asking for you. And I was like, okay. And he replaced the chain. And he said, but it's not just the charm. I was like, okay. He said, it has a deeper meaning. I said, okay. He said, you remember you said that the safety chain was that if it breaks, it keeps it from falling completely apart. I said, yes. He said, I'm going to do that for you. Oh, yes. So you see what I mean? That even if, you know, for whatever reason, if it didn't work out romantically, this man is just a good human being, and I believe a reminder from God that number one, I'm worthy.
Yes.
Yes. That I'm worthy of love, and that it's available to me. You know, even and in spite of my past, I'm worthy of this.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm grateful.
Wow.
I'm grateful.
Well, gosh.
So let's bring it. Let me take us back. How have the men in your life? How have they responded? What has that journey been like for you?
Well, I think that my husband, in this past 5 years, he really didn't know prior to moving here what was going on or that I was battling. I always tried to be, and maybe he did know, but he just didn't say anything. I think things hit the fan here, and he tried to do all he knew what to do, right? And so he would just be there, you know, maybe put his arm around me, you know, maybe it's gonna be okay. You know, you can do this. I remember him taking me through a process to find my why. Because when life gets topsy-turvy and you lose yourself, like my confidence took a huge beating here. And I lost myself completely, forgot about my strengths. And what was revealed to me just now, when I was in Delaware, I ran a direct sales company, a direct sales business. I sold jewelry, and I had a team of 300 plus women.
Wow.
And I was the girl. And so I mentored, I did shows, like everybody knew LaShawanda was rocking out this direct sales business. Well, God started weaning me a little bit, saying, you know, you got 4 kids now. We need you to reel it in and be whole for your family. And when we moved here, the company shut its doors, cold turkey. So what this extra 6-figure income was gone, cold turkey, just like that. But God had been preparing me. Right? That's just how much He loves, right? It dawned on me that that was my cover up. That there was some deeper stuff going on, but I was able to use that as a shield of protection. So it seemed like I had it going on and got it going on. My husband loves an independent woman, a strong, independent woman. So I was moving and shaking. But then here it was gone and it was a void. So it was almost like a death.
Yeah.
Right? And so I went through mourning, and then my husband helped me kind of discover who I was again. Until he took me through a process. It was very hard. He would ask every time I thought I had come up with my why, he'd be like, but why? That's not saying anything. Why? And I hated it. Didn't feel good going through it at the moment. But that was his way. And I think sometimes we always expect them to do it the way we want them to do it. But in actuality, they're showing us and they're trying to help us and do the best that they can do.
Yeah.
And so we just have to pay attention and just really appreciate that. And so my husband has been supportive. I think it put a strain on us, on our marriage.
And that's real though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in a marriage, both of you need to be whole. And I wanted to make sure that I never pulled on him to fulfill me or to complete me.
Right.
I needed to be complete in myself. That was like day one. I needed to be this way. And it seemed like for the first time I was pulling on him. And I didn't want to pull on him. I wanted to get this together myself. So it was this fight, it was this struggle, and it was this mad feeling that I had for myself and guilt that I felt too because I'm pulling from him. And I could see sometimes he was probably exhausted. But he would not say. But, you know, he was supportive. But I knew that it was this battle. And that's why I gotta stop this because I don't want my daughter to go through this. I don't want my children to feel this. I need to stop it. And that's why I went away in August.
It's very real thing. I like the boy part.
It was beautiful. I highly recommend
with your kids, you know, not wanting your kids to see that. I
Yeah.
can relate to that.
And I know they already have seen so much and felt, especially with my daughter, she's a smart cookie, very intuitive.
Okay.
You know, and I could tell, and my 9-year-old picked up on a lot. And he actually went through a little depression. You know, this started to kind of, as I was fighting and trying to rebuke it and get it off of me, it was hopping around.
Yeah.
And so you have to be, it's like a demon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and if you think about demons, the demon can jump out of you into another person. And so then it became, now I gotta be whole and I have to be praying and going to the throne on behalf of my children so that they don't go through this.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah.
When you think about your kids, I'm going to come to you, Brittany. When you think about your kids and knowing that they have seen you through your journey, was that extra pressure on you to
I felt like
speed
the
it up?
worst mother ever. I felt really bad before speeding up.
Yeah, I have mixed emotions because I had a very strong mother, and I hate that word, but I'll come back to that later. I just feel like there's a lot of pressure on us to be everything all the time, you know, and it does not leave room for our humanity, the word strong. But anyway, my mom made everything look easy, you know, nothing broke her, nothing made her sad. I don't think I've ever seen her cry, not even when my father died, and I know that, I know what that did to her when he passed, because she had been with him more than half her life. Wow. And that was the love of her life, and so to never see her cry, it really left me with a feeling of inadequacy as I went through my struggles, because I felt like I should have been able to hold it all together. I should have not been in broken states. And I'm teary-eyed just thinking about the moments when my oldest daughter has seen me in fetal positions on the floor, like literally unable to get up, unable to get out of bed. And you know, I pride myself on being a great mother, if nothing else. And there have been times, though, where I know I have failed her in that way, because we had role reversals. I know there were times where she probably felt like the parent. Yes, I was a functioning, you know, they talk about functioning addicts. I was a functioning depressed person. I got up and I went to work every day, and I paid our bills, and you know, I made sure she had clothes or nice things. You know, I did those things. But emotionally, there were times when she had to come in and she tucked me into bed, or she, you know, held me with her little arms. There were times where she saw me completely broken, and I know now in hindsight the impact that had on her, especially when it comes to relationships. She would never tell me that, but I feel like, and this is some guilt I'm still working through, I feel like she feels like I failed her in certain ways, but she would never want to hurt me in that way, so she's never said that to me. But I feel like she harbors some of that, which is why when she goes through her depressed state or moments, she doesn't want to talk to me about certain things. And we talk about everything, I mean anything, because I didn't have that dynamic as close as my mother, where she was just so private. Just a lot of things that I wish she had talked to me about, she didn't open up to me about. And so we talk about everything, but then there are moments where I feel like she wants to just unleash that. And so she's also been seeing a therapist, which I'm so grateful for. If it's not me, then go to someone and get help and the release that you need. But it has been very difficult for me, especially even as recent as last year when I went through postpartum depression. She saw that, she witnessed that, and that is tough. That is hard, especially when my daughter is 20. You know, she's almost 21, and so she knows there's no hiding. You know, she can hear my voice on the phone and know what kind of state I'm in. And I don't care how high pitched she's like, no, it's wrong. You know, her antennas are going off, and she's on that road from Hampton, and she's coming. So, yeah, I'm still working through that mommy guilt.
You're so loved. You are so loved. You know, as we hear just all these different people around you, they love you so much.
And it's funny because that's the thing. When you're in sickness or you're in darkness, you can't see that and you don't feel that, because that was the one thing that I desired so much. I realized it was more romantically that I desired it, but it was fleeting because I wasn't ready. God was like, you're not ready. I don't want to send you anything else to hurt you anymore, and I don't want to send you something that's ready and you're not ready for it and you mishandle it, you know? I know that with the wisdom and awareness that I have today, but I didn't have it at the time. And so I put my family on it, and I'm just so grateful for the grace and the unconditional, unwavering love. Yeah. My sister, my nieces, my daughter being down on that floor with me praying, being down on that floor when I couldn't get out of the fetal position, they got down there with me, you know, and they stayed and they laid and they fed me, and they did everything but bathe me, everything else, and they literally, my village of women literally carried me through those seasons, literally. One of my best friends, right after the suicide, the following one, she told me she paid for me to go to Aruba, and she took me to Aruba for almost a week, and literally breathed life back into me on that trip. I mean, I was like this big, I had lost a ton of weight. I just looked sick. I was sick. I I was up all night. Here we are in the movie. I was up all night crying. She was up all night. No judgment. Never mentioned it.
You know what's so interesting? When we look at people, we would never imagine.
We size them up, right?
Yeah, those beautiful women,
Very
this
fascinating.
beautiful dress on. You know, I've been loving that.
I gotta make sure you get them into it, right?
You know, but you would never, and that's why so many people are suffering silently.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people are ill and they're just not getting the help they need because we're not talking.
Yeah.
We just look the part.
Right.
You know, we look like we got it going on. And so you would never know that those are the things that you're dealing with or have dealt with. And thank God,
Thank God.
right? That we don't look like what we've
But
been
you know
through.
what? I said maybe we should though. Maybe we should.
Because
Because
it
then
seemed like you would ask questions.
and then
Right.
we would get the support that we need.
Right.
And then we
I
can
don't know.
relate to one another. I'm not saying once you're healed, but
Right.
while we're in it, maybe we should look like it. Maybe
A little
we
bit
should.
worse.
A little bit.
What's wrong with her?
Right.
But you know what? I love the glow up though. You know,
Yeah.
I'm for a good glow up.
Yeah.
It's like, no, look at where I was. But don't forget about what God has
Yeah.
brought me and what He's brought me through. That's why I share it all on social media. Like, oh my God, you share it? Yes. Because when I get to where God is taking me, I don't want you guys to think that I was always on the mountaintop.
Yeah.
Know about my valleys.
It's the journey too,
Yeah.
right? And when people can go along the journey with you,
Yeah.
they can understand. God will let you know when you need to reveal and what you need to reveal.
And to
Yeah.
Into who?
Into whom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So sorry. We put
This
it
is a conversation.
This is a chat.
Chats with Chelsea.
Yeah. Brizzy,
Yes.
how have the men in your life reacted?
I think what Q was saying earlier was that I couldn't express myself. I didn't know what I was really going through. I never called it what it was. So I think prior to, my fiance and I sabotage things. I thought at the first sign of argument or trouble or anything, that to me was like a red flag. Get out. Don't do it. Get out. Because like I said, if I watched a, seemingly amazing marriage crumble, I was like, and that, then how do I can't do that. I'm just gonna leave. It's easier. I'll just exit myself. And no matter how I exited, a lot of times it was not gracefully. And I was putting myself in situations that I shouldn't have been. I was selfish. I thought my dad was very selfish. And so I think I acted like that. Well, if he can throw something away for his happiness and to do what he needs to do, then I'll do the same thing. I'm going to do whatever makes me happy for the moment, for the month, for the time period, whoever I hurt. Well, it was just me being happy for myself. It was just me being me, And so I think that put me in a lot of situations that were not healthy. They weren't good relationships. They weren't good friendships. They weren't good sexual situations. Just being risky. And so now I'm in a place where I said I've identified it, I've addressed it, and my fiance is amazing. And so when I first started trying to figure out what to do, he was like, hey, this anxiety thing, foreign concept in the way that I think you're dealing with it. But here's a book. There's a couple books. I'm gonna go on Amazon, put some things on there. I'm gonna gift you with some things like randomly. He came up with a couple books. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. That's very thoughtful. A couple article links, more than a couple. Links started work. I was getting links today.
He's thinking about you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, he was saying, I might not understand it or I might not be going through it, but I need you to be healthy. And we would get into situations where I would be so emotional and crying and yelling and screaming. Once again, I can't tell you why. I don't remember. There are different times. I don't know why I even got to that point or why I was in that state. Or I'd be literally on the floor in our apartment at the time, hysterically crying at 8:30 in the morning. He's trying to work, and I'm screaming and crying on the floor and telling him he doesn't deserve this, giving him it out. I mean, literally trying to give him an out because I was like, I'm nervous. I was like, I don't know how to deal with this, so you should never deal with this. And every time he'd be like, we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, stop telling me, that I don't deserve this or it's not fair or, that I don't have to deal with this. I don't see this as a barrier. I don't. So that has been amazing. I was scared because this was like the one time I was like, I want this to really work. I don't want to screw this one up. And then all these things start appearing. They were always there, but now they're having to deal with. And I was like, God, why now? He gonna leave me? He's gonna fuck out all my crazy stuff. But he's still there, and he was there for every incident, every meltdown, every ER. He said, "You go." I wish I could get it. I'm like, let's get about 30 more minutes. He's like, all right, 30 minutes, can I get? Where are we at now? Are we gonna go? Are we ready? Bags back. Let's hit it. And so whatever I've had to do, he's been supportive of therapy, and of course he's also spiritual and praying together, meditation, medication, any of the things that I needed to be myself. And he would keep saying to me, you're running around doing all these things for everybody else.
Right.
You're so busy. But you can take care of yourself. And he just kept saying, if you need a weekend by yourself, that's fine. If you need, right, if you need, me to help, right, well, I'm going to Aruba in September.
Just came back with
Whatever you need, I can help. If it is, it's help with chores, small things. If it's doing the laundry, if it's cleaning up the kitchen, if it's doing the dishes, I can do it. You don't have to do everything. You enjoy that, but you don't have to do everything. And so, he didn't like seeing me run around in my, what I considered a normal behavior, doing everything, having all these meetings, community service, work is going, I'm climbing the ladder very, very fast, very, very young, but at the same time, mentally falling apart. And he was like, you don't have to do all of this. You can take the time, but you have to choose to do that. But it's been great having that support. And I do believe we were also friends first, and that helped out tremendously because it wasn't. But he's helped me. He's helped me deal with this. When we first got together, I wasn't dealing with it. It was there. I wasn't dealing with it. So he's gone from seeing me not deal with things, talking about it, to having a breakdown, several mental breakdowns, and then going into healing. So he's been here. It's been 6 years. He's been through this process of discovery with me. So that's been helpful. I believe he was the right man to be there.
Yes.
I believe that he absolutely was the right man. We're here for a reason. We're here for multiple purposes together. And it would not have worked anybody else. This process would not have worked. I would still be fighting myself with other people, fighting other people, because it wasn't the right situation to be in. So, I'm where I'm supposed to be at the right time with the right person to figure all these things out.
Something you said triggered a thought. Do you still sometimes feel that you're crazy or call yourself crazy? I love today's conversation because it was real. It was raw. So many of us crave for romantic relationships, whether we feel whole or we have some type of mental illness or mental disorder. And today's conversation is just real life proof that in spite of what you may be dealing with mentally, whether it's anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, PTSD, you still can have healthy, thriving relationships, because there are great men out there who want to work with you through whatever your issue may be. And I think so often we also forget about the fact that there's so many women out there who are in relationships with men who have mental health illnesses and disorders. And so it goes both ways, and I hope that you are encouraged to first seek help, evaluate yourself, but to also know that you can have a healthy romantic relationship. I hope you'll join us back next week where the ladies will answer the question that we ended with today. Do they still see themselves as crazy? Do they view themselves that way? So join us back here next week. Be sure to share this with a friend, and I hope you have a great week.